And now, our feature presentation.
So, Eric, we both hit that milestone in our lives, a milestone where we have passed the 20s and entered into the 30s.
Yay!
So, to match our new demographic of people over 30, yeah, we got to change the podcast. We can't be hip, colorful, or cool anymore. We got to be...
Wait, we were supposed to be that before?
Supposedly, yes, we were supposed to be.
You were. I mean, I've been 30 since I was 13, so...
You've been 30 since you're 13. I agree with that. Yeah, so we're going to have to change some things up a little bit just to do a... Yeah, to reach out to a nostalgic older audience, because now we are 30. So, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes.
In their 30s.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Eric. And in our 30s.
And we are old and in our 30s. And then we spend the rest of the episode just saying we're old and in our 30s.
I like this idea.
Yeah. Completely throw everything out the window that we've built up, and we just got rid of everything. We're like, we're two dudes in our 30s now.
I have to call my younger brother or younger nieces or nephews and ask them how to, turn my gaming consoles on now.
Or just the TV, how to record something.
Yeah, I'm like, why do I have 3 remotes for one TV?
Where's the Roku remote? Oh, I remember where that one is. That's for people who listened last time. So I got this Coke Zero in my hand, and it's been sitting in my car for like 24 hours.
Opened?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's flat.
But it is the best tasting Coke Zero I've ever had. Because it's flat.
Oh my god.
I've really hit 30, haven't I?
Yup.
Yeah, this past week was my birthday, and I hit the 30. Eric hit the 30 a little while ago.
Mm-hmm. I was also a really bad friend because we and Kate are both like, it's Brandon's birthday. And then you were coming over today, and I was like, oh no, I'm old. I forgot. No. I just forgot.
On my birthday, working on my birthday, that was like the worst working day I've had so far. And of course, it's on my birthday. And at the end of it, I was so tired, I just crawled home and I just like laid face down on the couch, screamed into the pillow.
Oh no.
It was so busy, and now it's just me, your boy, and I'm doing the job of 3 people, and it was just a very, very long day on my birthday. Very long. But before we get into a tirade or a rant on just some stupid stuff.
Oh, I've got a couple rants.
A couple rants.
One having to do with why I hate my dogs again, and then
yes.
One why I really am an old guy in my 30s. So.
Oh boy. Okay.
But before all that,
I want to take a second. If you looked at the thumbnail of this episode, you haven't seen it yet, Eric, because I just forgot to show you. You are greeted by a wonderful, wonderful picture done by my friend and friend of the channel, Marza K. At Marza K. Twitter,
wonderful
Instagram.
Artist. And
yes.
All of I love every depiction she has ever made of me, even the ones that aren't supposed to be complimentary. They're awesome. I love them.
She does such a good job, and she drew me this wonderful picture, and I just literally have to share it with everyone because it is of my favorite show ever, regular show. And then she kind of characterized me as one of their characters, hanging out with them. And I just love it. It's wonderful. She's a fantastic artist. And I just wanted to throw that out there, and just say thank you. It's such a good gift. Top 3 gifts, definitely. In my lifetime, top 3 gifts.
And especially just with everything going on, go support artists, so I'm sure she probably takes commission jobs.
Yep, she does. Yep.
She will not disappoint, so, show her some love, throw her a couple jobs, help out your local artists.
Help out the local artists who, making ends meet with what they love to do. Okay, so Eric, do you want to get your dumb rants out? Because I got good anecdotes for today.
I never have as good as anecdotes as you, so yes, I am going to go first, because let's get my dumb crap out
Get
of
it out. I will say real quick, that same friend, last week's episode at the very end, you remember your joke, ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was like, oh my gosh, that was like the perfect setup. She complimented you on that.
I want everybody to know that was not practiced, that was not rehearsed, that was me totally ripping that bit from another podcast.
And that was me being legitimately pissed.
This is the only good joke I think I'll ever have on the podcast, but...
All right, so get your stories out before I fill podcast with joy and glee.
Yeah, so I really am old. I hurt my back. This is all within like a 24-hour period. I woke up, the weather finally got a little bit warm, immediately assailed by allergies.
Oh my gosh, I was wearing shorts that day.
Never before have I get a little bit of a sniffle or something come springtime.
A little.
Yeah, as we're watching Cocaine Cowboys on Netflix. That's crazy. Anyway, but it was out of the blue. This is the first year this has ever happened. No joke. I think I never understood that they're like, haha, in your 30s, it's going to change. It did. Immediately, I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm sick. And no, it's just allergies. My sinuses have been screwed up all freaking week. I can't breathe. Wake up every morning with a sore throat. And I'm not sick. I took the test and everything to make sure.
Yeah.
And it's bullcrap. Just because I'm 30. Last year, no trouble. This year, I'm dead. This is bull. I don't get it.
As soon as I turned 30, that morning, I'm walking downstairs, get my coffee, get my stuff ready for work. I have to run back upstairs. Now, I used to be a very big guy. And now my weight number is much lower than the last time we talked about on the podcast. So I'm in the best shape of my life. I've never weighed this.
Nice.
And I was climbing the steps and I'm like, and then I'm thinking to my parents, like, all right, we're ripping out that banister. We're putting in one of those chairs that carry you up. I'm not doing this for the rest of my life.
And at work, as we're recording, I'm sitting here in a back brace, like the $30 Walmart, whatever back brace, because I can't bend over. I was literally, what was I doing yesterday? It's muddy out. I let the dogs in. I was trying to wipe their feet off so they don't destroy our house any more than they already have.
Yes.
And my back spasmed. I felt like something, like, I don't know what happened, but it spasmed. I fell face first.
Now, a spasm like that, does it feel like something gets pulled? Like someone grabs like a muscle and like pulls it either way, if that makes sense?
This one actually felt like my discs or my spine was grinding together. I felt a grinding sensation, and then my back was like, bloop! You're going down, buddy.
And then all the dogs are like, oh, yeah, look, he's on the ground. Kisses.
It's exactly what happened. The Ari was the younger, more playful one. She's like, oh, Dad's going to play, and jumped on me. And I was like screaming. I'm like, I will kill you. Get off of me. But realistically, I couldn't move. So.
Knowing your dog, that's exactly what happened.
I hit 30 and everything just kind of...
I hit 30 and the Fire Nation attacked.
That's actually the most apt way. Everything else, it used to be in harmony. I used to be able to sleep. I used to be able to drink. I used to be able to like do physical activities. And then I hit 30 and the Fire Nation decided to disrupt the balance. And now I'm an old man wearing a back brace, spending my weekend recuperating so I can go to work without pain.
You need to get a cane. You need to get yourself a cane to be strutting around.
I am willing to bet that sometime within the next 10 years, I will actually require a cane. For walking.
I would love a cane, honestly. Just strutting around work with a cane, like Dr. House.
Yeah, and
just be sarcastic and mean to everybody. And it's like, I have a cane. I can do what I want.
I'm old and wise.
Okay, all right, I'm talking cane. I'm not talking wizard staff.
Yeah, but the canes used to be a symbol of like status and
it did.
power.
They used to be. Now it's just a symbol that you're old. So maybe it would be better for you to go into workplace with a wizard staff and you just wear a wizard hat.
You would not part an old man from his walking stick, would you?
It's like a crystal in the top of it, and you put a battery in there. Oh, did you laugh too hard that you hurt yourself? Oh no!
Yeah, this chair is not conducive to proper posture.
Eric's getting old in front of me. He's turning into dust.
Like, literally, yeah. I used to think I was going bald. Nah. I think I've probably said this before, but I'm just going gray at the temples. I was like, my hairline's receding. Nah, it's just going gray.
It's just going gray. And I remember my one buddy who met you for the first time, he asked, like, how old are all your friends? Because you and our other friend have gotten grays a little earlier than most, and everyone's looking like, how old are they? I'm like, no, they just got grays early.
The one thing I'm holding on to is that I'm going to look really good at 50 because I just will appear to have not aged since I turned 30. I'm just praying that's what happens.
And you're going to kind of have this like salt and pepper look in your hair.
Yeah.
That means you have experience, but also you're a little bit wild. Maybe more on the side of mild, but yeah.
Just flip that W upside down.
Yeah, flip it upside down. You get yourself a mild.
Okay, but all right. Last rant. My dog broke my PS4 yesterday.
And how did that happen?
My wife and I, we are also trying to, eat a lot healthier, be a little bit more active. She's doing great. She's dropped weight. She's doing awesome. Me, I'm okay. I've dropped a couple pounds. Not exercising as much as I should be, but with the turn of the weather, I'm going to be doing later in the year something through work again, kind of like I almost said relay race. Basically just a run with some obstacles. And
right, yeah.
And I want to start jogging in preparation for that because my time last year was truly god awful. Like objectively,
how long was it?
It's a 10-mile run with like 30 some obstacles, I think.
Right,
and
you gotta include the obstacles too because you got to do that.
Yeah, and it took me. I finished personally in just under 4 hours. Now, to be fair,
I run.
Yeah, I know.
At the peninsula, 10 miles in an hour and 45 minutes.
And if it was just straight running, I bet I could have done a lot better. But
right, the obstacles, that was the thing.
Well,
that
the
I'm
obstacle stopped.
For.
It's also on sand. Like half of it is on sand.
Sand, it kills you.
That killed my ankles. So even when I got back onto pavement, when I was like, okay, I can make up time, I was in so much pain. I also think I broke my hand on one of the obstacles. It was like a rope climb, and I got my hand caught, and then I also I fell between like tire swings. I think I ripped my groin when I did that too. It was just bad. It was
all
a
in
bad
the pursuit
day.
to be beautiful. Broke your hand, ripped your groin in half.
A guy. Oh, I also wound up walking with one of my coworkers. He's a friend of mine too. He was struggling, so I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm also in pain. I already ruined my time, so we just walked like the last half of it. So, but we're both like, no, this year we're doing better. So. Anyway, long story short, I got all rambling aside. We were having a cheat day yesterday because we've been doing really well. It was St. Patty's Day this past week. We're like,
right. I was always told to call a cheat day a treat day.
I like that
because
idea.
You're treating yourself for your progress instead of cheating, because cheating always
has such negative connotations.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I like that. It was a treat day. Seriously, I moved some furniture around. We got right under our TV and tilted it because we were trying to make it like a movie day.
Yeah.
And so we watched a movie together. We had some snacks, had a couple drinks. It was fun. She wanted to keep watching movies. My mind, I can't. Unless it's like Lord of the Rings or something super nerdy, I lose interest very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I turned my chair around. I was playing my game. Well, I was being nice because our dog normally sits on the couch with us. So I had her up on a chair not much bigger than this with me. So I got down, she got down, blah, blah, blah.
So to give just a little context, like Eric's just sitting in a regular computer chair. The dog that he's talking about is much bigger than
like
a computer
70
chair.
pounds. And this was a recliner, just a normal recliner.
Yeah, like the size of a lab. That's just the standard size I usually go with, and people would know that.
But anyway, she got down because I had to get down. We were getting stuff. My wife got up to go do something. She walked, but I guess the dog had jumped back up on the chair. My wife walked behind it, and it startled the dog, Ari. And she jumped down, but because that's the way everything was set up, I have my little gaming stand. Well, I didn't turn the whole stand around. I just turned my TV around. So the back of my PS4 was right there. She jumped down and smacked into the HDMI port and completely sheared the pins, broke it. The cord's fine, but the actual port on the PS4 did not work. I almost cried.
Almost. A grown man cried.
I was like,
almost.
Thankfully I'm dead inside. So I did have a little bit of emotion, but it wasn't enough to produce a physical reaction.
And you were saying maybe this is a little push to get yourself maybe a new
I am going to
console.
try to be a jerk and manipulate my wife into buying me the Xbox Series X now. But I'm going to be like, but I'm so sad. I need this.
I need this in my life.
But no, in all seriousness, I have been wanting to do it for a while. My PS Plus membership is up, shortly. So I'm like, maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. We have to look at money and everything because that's a lot of money to spend. But my game collection is gonna, like, I put all the past however many years into the PS4, so
you got memories there. You got a collection.
I also just bought Elden Ring.
Right? You just got it.
Plus, like, the Mass Effect trilogy. So I'm actually really bummed about this, but I don't know. I'll see. I gotta go and see if.
Well, I mean, if you get the new Xbox, you can. Well, yeah, it's not as easy as just go buy him again, and you're like, I shouldn't have to buy him again because I wish my dog would just be a decent creature.
I hate that dog. I love that dog, but I hate that dog. It's such a.
That's me and my cat. I hate my cat. I love my cat. We have a very strange relationship. We don't like each other, but we're all fine with if I'm taking a nap. We cuddle. I'm just gonna say we cuddle.
That's what I love the dog when she's sleeping because she's cute. But as soon as she wakes up and has an ADD attack and
gets into stuff and breaks things,
just gets into So I'm still verging between forgetting about it and then remembering and going through the sadness again.
I was going to say,
rage.
So you're going through the 5 steps of grief.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I admit I had a little bit of a hangover because we really have been doing good.
And it's your treat day, and that's okay.
Well, no, we've been doing good. We haven't drank in a while, and so I just didn't have enough water. It felt bad. I was like, so I was talking to my wife. I'm like, man, I don't feel good. She would be angry if I didn't. I walked. My actual words were, I walked and I was like, man, I feel like shit. And she turned around, looked me dead in the eye, and she's like, yeah, you look like shit.
That's when
she had some zingers all morning.
That's when marriage has hit that point where you're both comfortable and you're just going to tell each other how terrible you look.
But anyway, she had a couple other zingers this morning. My pride's still recovering.
Your pride's still recovering.
But then I looked at her and I was like, wow, that hurt. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, and you know what made it worse? And she's like, what? I'm like, I just remembered you broke my PS4 yesterday.
Oh. Your heart's like just getting ripped in half and stomped on.
So we'll see. That was my old guy segment of
old guy segment. Well, with the podcast, it sure is a podcast anymore. We're throwing that in the trash. It's now 2 guys in their 30s. Just
crying about their broken.
My body's breaking. Yeah. My game system broke. I hate my dog.
We're trying so hard to save up for it because we want to potentially think about moving next year and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, you know what? I just need President Biden. I know you're old and you don't listen to podcasts, but if this could somehow make its way to you, just cancel student debt. Just cancel. Just
please.
Because if we do that, we'll be fine. We're spending so much money on student debt. Just cancel it.
And the only reason you're saying that is so you can get an Xbox.
Yes, I just want my damn Xbox.
And you're thinking like, all right, if not for anyone else, just for me, I can give you my social security number, all my info. Yeah. I can give it all to you.
It's the government. They already have all that crap.
What if one day he's just sitting there and he just decides, I'm listening to a podcast, and he just randomly lands on this? I hope that for you. I hope that series of events and fate lines up to that, and he's like, I'm going to help you out, Eric. I'm going to help you out.
I think they're saving the canceling the student debt for, I don't know, well,
Okay, hold on. The look on your face. I'm like, are you going to get into some politics?
I am.
Thoughts?
You got to cut me off.
Do you cut
Well, if we're old,
if
we're 30-year-old white guys, we have to talk about politics.
Yeah, but we're not. We're not going to. That is the thing. I have noticed that is a trend about just people have podcasts just to complain about stuff and then complain about everything. And I caught you. I was like, You're going to say some stuff. You're going to say something. You keep that out of here.
I love how you do. You're like, I see the look on your face. Shut up. Shut up. No politics.
Shut your mouth. Be quiet.
That'll be our secondary spin-off podcast.
The secondary, yeah, and then
me trying to explain current politics.
And me just knowing nothing about it and just losing my mind. Nope, I don't.
It is your job as a citizen to know, but you just don't want to.
You don't want to. Moving on.
Let's have some joyous stuff.
Anecdote time. So this now, okay, preface. I'm going to put out some content, not content.
Context?
Context, thank you. My brain just blanked on that. Some context. I know it might be shocking, but your main man, Brandon, hasn't been in the dating field for quite a while. And this past weekend, I went on three dates.
I have to interject too. Just every couple hours one day, he was like, "Hey man, I can't record on Friday. I have a date." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then a little later, I have another date, and I was like, "Oh, okay, we still have another day we can record." And no joke, a few hours later, he's like, "Dude, I don't know what's happening, but I have a third date." I was like, "What is going on?"
I don't know either. Maybe the algorithm of what I use just aligned perfectly. And I'm throwing out this context now that I put up a boundary, and I just said, we're just meeting. We're all just hanging out, chatting.
Yeah, you were actual dates. You were trying to be a respectful, I'd like to meet you and get to know you.
Yes, exactly. And I just threw that out there, and everyone agreed to it. Everyone was fine. And this isn't me trying to play a bunch of people, but it all kind of happened. I'm just we're all just meeting, right? And a lot of my friends are girls anyway, so this isn't weird for me. I go and hang out with my friends, or we go grab a coffee and they're girl, right? So one went very well. That one, there's nothing interesting to necessarily talk about because it just went very well. It was just a very good time. And let's start with this one. This one I guess the terminology would be catfished. It would be catfish because the person in the images did not look like the person in real life. And it's not, all right, before anyone gets out there and be like, "Oh, Brandon's saying something about their appearance he doesn't like. He's only looking, skin deep and that's it." It's no, I don't even mind that. That isn't the thing.
I'm gonna vouch. Brandon's one of the very few people who, when they say looks don't matter, I actually believe him. I'm shallow enough to admit to be no, looks are kind of important. It's not the only thing, but you do want to be attracted.
Yeah. And this person just looked just a lot more just frazzled than their. But I'm like, we're here. We're just walking around the beach, just chatting, right? So we're talking and the conversation's fine. But what really just put me off from this whole experience was she talked about having some kind of sinus thing. That's fine. We all get sick.
I literally, you can hear it in my nasally ass voice right now.
Your nasally voice. What came after that though is what made me just disgusted. Is when she just shot out a loogie. She just turned it aside. She's hang on. It's even more manly than I could have ever done. And I'm sitting there
and
that was my little squeal.
And I'm going to say, and I think I'd mentioned this before, that's something that happens after you're comfortable around somebody. And I don't want to be a misogynistic, you have to be the picture perfectly. That's not true. However, and I think this is true for both men and women, I'm not picking sides, when you go out on a first impression, you do want to give a good first impression.
Right.
And give it time, something like that wouldn't even faze you. But you're just meeting this individual, you're trying to establish a rapport with them, you're trying to see what they're all about. Stuff like that right up front, men and women, just save that a little bit. You don't want
for a little bit and
too
save
much
it for later.
Too fast. Yeah. And that's now I'd what's the term? I'll Dutch oven my wife. I'm not going to do that the first time I meet somebody.
Exactly. You don't just Dutch oven someone, you just run over.
Now it's playful, but back then and that would have been assault.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. None of that for me. I just imagine in public just running up to someone, throwing a sheet over him and wrapping it up. And then just putting it I don't know,
a tube.
Yeah, making
something?
a tube and just letting one rip in there and ha, first date, ha, isn't that funny? No, no one's going to respond to that.
Yeah.
And I know I'm on my best behavior. I'm not even acting like they do on the podcast. I was, got a few burps. I was just silently letting him out and just like shooting him
Yep,
away.
yep.
Like I was being a gentleman. And she's just like there's like
Oh, I can't. I'm weird about like
that kind of
nose
stuff.
and phlegm stuff. I really am.
And I swear I hit a rock because you heard contact. You heard the
That's
yeah. And
I'm
then,
not fully over my hangover yet.
yeah,
just a
so
second.
I'm not going to add on to any of that only
Okay,
because I don't want you to
good.
puke on my mic.
I'll move the mic.
I'll move it over and then puke all over the floor and then put the mic
There's
back.
a laundry basket. I'll just puke into that.
Yeah, you could probably fill that up a good way before it comes out the sides. And she and then our conversations just really talked about work, and I just kind of noticed that a lot of times I would say something and then it was the one-up thing where it's like, oh, I've had that, but worse.
Well, and that's it.
And
It's always good to have a story that you can relate to. Be like, oh, that's interesting. You know, I had a similar situation and tell the story.
Yeah.
I hate the one-uppers. Oh, yeah, you were in a car crash? Well, like, I wrecked my bike and got thrown 40,000 feet into the air. And shut up! Like, no one cares.
And that would be something someone says 40,000. You're like, you did not get 40,000.
That's
Like,
what
yes,
I'm
I did.
But yeah, it's very human nature if you hear a story to be like, if you've had a similar experience, it's very normal to be like, oh yeah, like I totally get that. Like I had a similar thing happen. But the people who are just like, oh, you had a bad day, mine was worse. Shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Yeah, and I'm not putting out there that, you know, this was a terrible experience and I hate the person. No, those just the things that just kind of I was like, eh. And then, you know, we just kind of said our goodbyes. You know, it's like, hey, it was nice hanging out. And then she hasn't messaged me back. So I kind of think like she's felt the same way about it, which is fine. But like, as I said, we just went out as friends. There was no like,
well,
there
that's
was
the whole
no hookup. There was none of that. So like, there were no emotional strings or anything. We're just hanging out.
That's just dating. That's like, all right, we talked and personalities don't match up.
That's how like dating used to be.
Well, now
that we're 30. Back in my day.
Yeah, but don't you want to date like emotionally mature people? There's some app that like that's their tagline.
There is a dating app that also you have to have certain test scores and a job that makes so much money. I believe it's called The League. And it's a dating app only for like successful people. I want to make an app that is only for people who
unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful. And the thing is, you got to prove it. You can't have a job.
You got to upload your W-2.
And you're just like, wow, they're making nothing. All right, cool.
You made $10,000 last year. You really aren't kidding.
Yeah.
That's like $5 an hour.
Yeah. That's
not even a legal amount to pay somebody.
I think I would call the app The Bottom. Some people would take that in a different way and be like, oh,
I did.
Like, oh, are these old? Is this an app just for people who are bottoms? So maybe, Bottom of the Barrel. How's that? Is that better?
That's better. I like that one.
I'll also make the Bottom dating app. It's just called Bottoms. And all it is,
Isn't
one
that
of
just
two
Grindr?
things. It's going to be one of two things. It could be like Grindr, where it's just people who just identify. It's like, I prefer to be a bottom, or people with large derrieres. It'll be both. And it's just when you open up the app, it'll say like, do you prefer to be bottom, or do you have a big chunky butt?
Do you like to look at a bottom, or do you like to be the bottom? That's just the opening question. And
then after that, then it asks the rest of the question, and then you go and swipe left, swipe right, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's the next dating app. And yeah, that date was just kind of meh. The loogie thing killed me though. I was like I said, I was like,
the first time you did that squeal and put your hands up.
The high pitched squeal. And that's what I did. I jumped back. I was like, oh! Because I like, even though
that's what killed it for her too. She's like, oh, this dude's a pussy.
He don't even like mucus getting shot out of my mouth at 30 miles an hour.
No shade to this girl. I have no idea what she sounds like.
And I mean, definitely more power to her for, whatever she doing. And then, it was that. And then the next day I had the one that was very enjoyable, very nice. And an old lady interrupted us, and she's like, I'm so happy that you two are just talking and not being on your cell phone. I'm sitting there like, lady, I'm trying to score here. I'm trying to increase my game. Could you get out of here, Grandma?
B-Dog is trying to smash, Grandma. Get out of here.
Stand up, put both hands up. I'm trying to smash.
You want to go? You trying to hit on my lady?
This old lady who's just like, I'm just happy you are talking and not on your cell phones. That was her whole thing. Very nice old lady, and we were both very nice, and entertain the conversation. And I'm not either that type of person where like I'm not looking to smash on the first date, just because I don't find an interest in somebody unless I've developed in a relationship with them.
That's fair.
Right? Because then it's just like that primal instinct of like, oh, I'm horny, gotta smash.
Well, you're not 17 anymore. We have established
that.
When you could see a fire hydrant that looks like a boob and want to have sex with it.
Yes, yes. And now you hit 30 and your body's just like, I could, but I lean more toward I couldn't.
You're like, I mean, I could, but my game's already set up. I'm pretty comfy here. I don't... I mean, I can watch my characters do it. I'm emotionally invested in that. That's just as appealing.
It's just as satisfying. I literally, and I've said this story, and there's no filters with me. I'm just honest, brutally honest to the point. The one that went very well, we were talking about willpower, and she's like, how good is your willpower, right? It's like, she was asking, I'm like, let me tell you. One time...
Was it the Kirby story?
It was the Kirby story! I told her, I'm like, I was invited over to play Kirby. She wanted to smash, but I wanted to play Kirby. And I used the classic line of, I still got to play with something pink, and I actually finished it. And she's just sitting there like, oh, she's just like, I can't believe you just said that. I'm like, do you want to know the truth? Like, I resisted that to play some Kirby. I was Kirby Star Allies.
Never played it. I played one Kirby game.
I love Kirby games. Are my favorite. They're like one of my favorite Nintendo games, only because they're just simple, but they're fun. And I always have a blast with them. Yeah, the Kirby story. And if you are new listeners and don't know the Kirby story, I'll actually give you the real quick rundown of it. So there was this girl that I was kind of chatting with, and you know, we've done the dirty a few times, but it was a very bad relationship, and I started figuring that out halfway through. And I go over to her house because we're texting, and she was saying, "Oh, you know, you want to come over and play a game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got the new Kirby." She's like, "Yeah, I'll play that." She was trying
to booty call you.
She was, and
You're just like, I am not a piece of meat.
I am not a piece of meat just to be summoned to be played with. I thought we wanted to play Kirby. So I go over there, I set up my Switch, and we start playing, and like we're on the couch like separate. I'm sitting there like crossed legs in the corner of the couch, Joy-Cons in hand. I'm ready to play.
You are like full on gamer mode kid. Like, all right, I'm ready. Let's go. And she's like, I'm ready too.
Yeah, no, and she keeps scooting closer, and I'm like, yeah, and she's like, you know, and I just look at her and I tell her, I was told I was going to play Kirby. I'm here to play Kirby. And I just shut her down. And then, like, after we were done playing, I left. Because I was just like, all right, I'm leaving now. See you later.
I feel like that's a pretty good indicator, though, that you're like, I might be over this relationship.
Yes, I'm over this little whatever this is, fling or anything. So I told her that story, and she was like, after she's done, like, wheezing, hacking, laughing, she's like, okay, that's a lot of willpower.
Yeah, I have zero.
Because the standard red-blooded male. There's usually one option. I'm just like, no, Kirby.
The regret comes later, but
yeah, no, I was smart in that situation. And I hit my can off something. All right, finished my flat. It's Coke Zero.
It's not even cherry Coke Zero. What are you doing with
your
life?
It's whatever I found at the blood bank when I donated blood. They want you to, you know.
Yeah, up your sugar.
After all that, yep.
Man, I really should donate. I'm such a terrible human.
You are a terrible human. So moving on to the next. I almost said terrible human. No, she wasn't a terrible human.
Oh, wow.
She has a lot going on, but she was like super actually fun to talk to and very interesting. And we kind of sat, you know, in a small coffee shop until they closed. And it was very pleasant, but the one thing that was like a little bit of the little bit of a red flag was when she explained to me that she was technically still married, but she couldn't find her husband to sign divorce papers.
That's so sad because it's like, you're awesome, but that's a situation I'm a little bit afraid of.
Yeah, and in that situation, it just seems like, oh yeah, we gotta figure some stuff out first before anything gets pursued. But like I said, we're all just hanging out. We're all just friends. We're just, you know, just chatting. But yeah, that one I was just kind of like, and I haven't been in that situation, but in a similar situation where I was the cheatee. I didn't cheat, but someone cheated on their significant other with me, and I didn't know that at all. And that gave me a gross, grimy feeling. So I was like,
well, yeah, because afterwards you're like, oh, I'm the other woman. What the heck?
Yeah, you're like, I'm the side
I didn't want to
chick.
do that.
Aww.
That's disrespectful. Just break it off.
Yeah, and I'm the type of person. I'm kind of like a what animal, mates for life? Is it like a dove or something? Maybe a penguin. Maybe an aardvark.
There are multiples that.
Maybe it's snails.
They don't even mate, do they?
Well, they have to reproduce somehow.
Well, yeah, but I don't. Wow, I'm really dumb. I don't know how snails reproduce.
How do snails reproduce? Well,
to Google.
To Google. Let's just scroll this open and let's just hit the Google and it's just.
I'm also trying to. There's a very specific animal I'm trying to think of where they mate for life.
That's what I'm trying to remember.
And I can't.
For two snails to mate, one snail aggressively fights the other, looking for attention, harming both snails in the process.
Whoa.
Eventually, the pursued snail will give in and involuntarily receive a love dart full of sperm.
I'm sorry. Wait. Are you telling me one snail rapes another snail?
Harming both snails in the process. All right. For two snails to mate, one snail aggressively fights the other. Yeah, so they just duke it out.
That's horrifying.
And then the snail just fires a love dart full of sperm, and you might see a little white dagger-like thing sticking out of a snail's body, which means...
That is...
So it fires the dart, and the dart just injects the sperm into the body. But if it hit anywhere,
that's terrifying. I am truly terrified.
And everyone thinks snails are cute. Then
yeah,
snails are raping each other out here.
They're literally like, I'm gonna cut you and make you. Yeah, you're gonna have my baby.
Hide your beetles, hide your slugs, because snails are raping everybody out here.
Are they I don't think I'm using this term correctly, but asexual. Like, is it any snail can do that to any snail, or do they actually have like biological genders?
I think it would have to be biological things. Okay, so let's learn how to breed a snail.
I don't know if I want to. I'm already a little afraid. This is very sticky ground.
Sticky ground.
That was a really poor choice of words. I didn't mean it.
That was a 30-year-old joke. So, all right, taking precautions. Make sure you are ready to care for the baby snails. This includes getting a new terrarium and being ready to provide extra attention and a little more time to the task. 2. Be informed about mating.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to be. Just tell us what happens so we move past this.
Okay, this answers your question.
Does it? All right.
Most snails are hermaphrodites, meaning they have both male and female sex organs. After laying a clutch of eggs, so this is after the duking it out and firing of the...
I can't see that. That's so terrible.
So if they're both hermaphrodites, then probably what they do is just like...
Whoever wins gets to be the one.
Whoever wins gets the nut.
Yeah, that's truly horrifying.
What if humans did that? They're just like they're just beating the shit out of each other, and then all of a sudden they're just like,
in the 20s.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, and they're just duking it out, and then just like I won, so I get to like I'm the one allowed to. You're not allowed to.
What scares me is the fact that it's besides the whole horrific portion of it, is just that it's a dart.
Yeah, I did know that some like yeah, like
right
in the side of their neck.
That's
oh my
terrifying.
gosh, what if humans acted like that? And just like you go to work one day and you just have a dart sticking out of your neck,
and you're just like, "Damn it, Jeff!"
Yeah, everyone
do not have my consent. Sorry.
I just had to fire it, just standing over the cubicle with his hands like around his waist, like with just this junk hanging over the cubicle.
It's like I couldn't wait anymore.
I had to fire at something. Sorry. All right, so. After laying a clutch of eggs, snails are generally ready to reproduce again in 6 weeks throughout the year. Snails lay between 30 and 140 eggs at a time. That's nearly 480 snails a year. That's assuming they all live. That's a lot of snails. And everyone thinks snails are cute. They're like dolphins.
They're brutal.
They're vile. The mating of two snails is possible, but extremely painful for both snails, so it's not necessarily encouraged. Why? Why is this how they reproduce?
I don't know. That's
For two snails
I'm uncomfortable
to
now.
mate, one snail aggressively fights the other snail, looking for attention, harming both snails in the process. Eventually, the pursued snail will give in and involuntarily receive a love dart full of sperm. We already read that. You might
Hey,
see...
I like you. Hey, pay attention to me. Hey.
Okay, here we go. Do not attempt to remove this dart, as it could harm the snail even more. The love dart is the equivalent of having a thumb-sized needle in your stomach.
That is, no,
I hate that description.
No. I'm now going to brutally murder any snails I see. That is
just
terrible.
Punch them into the dirt. It sounds like they deserve it. They're almost as gross and vile as dolphins. To prevent mating, keep an eye out. You might see a snail.
Cock block a snail?
Here's how to cock block a snail.
Jesus Christ.
You just bust in the terrarium. It's like, what are you two doing? And it's like, we were just studying.
Hey, separation. I want to see a gap between you two.
I want to see arm length between you.
Jeff, put the dart away.
So, all right, that's what I was getting to. You might see a snail with its male genitalia out. And then it has in quotations, penis. Okay, not quotations, parentheses. Because quotation and two little lines. I get those always mixed up. This is identifiable by the long, white, stick-like thing close to the shell. Move the snail to a different terrarium until it has fully retracted. This could take a few hours, in some cases up to a day. So these snails
Wow,
just
he
get
needs
like...
to call his doctor then if it lasts for more than 4 hours.
He does. Look out for
Didn't
eggs.
realize snails could last longer than me.
That is very true.
But
Snails are lasting longer than any of us in this room. Look out for eggs. If your snails have already laid eggs and you want to dispose of them, freeze them for 24 hours, then throw them in the trash.
Wow, that's brutal. Why don't you just smash them? At least it's instant.
You have to freeze them and then throw them? Okay.
Is that a humane way to... Nothing about this snail culture is like...
consenting, appropriate.
Well, it's also brutal.
Very.
It's like, if you want to kill a snail baby, just freeze it to death.
And then smash them and then throw them away.
Wow.
So that was taking precautions. That was step 1. We're on to step 2. Setting the scene.
I don't want to set the scene. They're just going to beat the crap out of each other.
You set up like one of those like really sleazy hotels with the love-shaped bed. And you just put,
I feel
a boxing ring, those tethers around it, and you just put them both in there and let them duke it out.
That's so truly awful.
Make sure the condition of your snail's home is in good shape. The soil must be at least 2 inches deep and must be quite moist. Make sure you purchase soil from your local store. Just make sure there is no pesticides or fertilizer in the soil, as it could harm your snail. Never use soil from your garden, as it could contain pests or parasites that could harm, not quotations, in parentheses, or kill your snail.
Wow, life of a snail is really hard.
I don't know if you know this, but snails need air. They're not that much different from us. I don't know why they would put that.
I'm going to disagree with that statement.
Yeah, I think our reproductive cycle is I
mean, there are some outliers in society that are horrible people, but on a whole, humans don't,
dart each other.
Like beat somebody up and then dart them to reproduce.
Mm-hmm. If you put them in a plastic container, make sure to pop some holes in the top. Keep the temperature moderate and comfortable too. Take care of their basic needs. This doesn't include singing to them because they don't have ears. That's a
so
real
sad.
thing I just read, and I'm just thinking, yes, basic needs. The first thing I think of would be singing.
Yeah, I was going to gloss over that whole thing. So I'm just picturing a deaf snail getting punched in the back of the head as the other snail is screaming, but it's all silent because they can't hear anything. And then he's just out of nowhere gets stabbed in the neck.
And then they have babies. I have no ears, and I must.
So you're going to include snail culture in Briar now, right? Or
yes, yeah. Snails aren't necessarily a part of it.
Well, that could be in the sequel.
Where oh god, how they
yeah.
Oh, they would just be like the opposite of those giant the female things from Gears of War that can't see but hear. They can't hear, but they can see.
A fun fact, we'll call it a fun fact, but the Berserkers, are there females in Gears of War?
Yeah.
They also have to be raped to reproduce.
I did know that.
That was in the books.
I did. Yeah. So they're also snails. They're pretty much snails.
This is... wow.
We're learning a lot today.
I don't know if I ever needed to, like, have my image of snails just destroyed by this.
But they do have eyes and a mouth, so make sure to provide the right lighting and food necessary for their growth and success. Check on them regularly. So snails are omnivores, which they eat, vegetation and animals. So what are their good foods? Apples, apricots, bananas, blackberries, grapes, kiwi, mango, melons, nectarines. A whole lot of just other...
lettuce?
Yeah, just stuff you'd find in a garden, honestly. Don't forget the water. Most snails are nocturnal. If you turn on the interrogation lights at night, they'll immediately hide in their shells. If you're looking for a good show, they'll be the most entertaining in early evening, at night, and in the wee hours of the morning. Sprinkle them with water if you want to excite them a bit. I don't want to excite them at all.
I don't think they need excitement.
Just spray bottle and the snail gets a boner.
That's... Marty, they hit me with the water. Come here. No.
just it's like a light rain, and the snail's just like, great, now I have to walk around with this thing for an hour.
A light rain, and then it's just like that scene from... what was the really messed up sausage party or something from Seth Rogen? The one where it's all food and they just have a giant
sausage
orgy.
party.
Yeah, it's just that, but with snails whenever it rains.
I hated that movie. Make sure they have some foliage to frolic in. Don't worry, they use their feelers to sense obstacles, lacking the sight to do so. So they can see, but sort of. Get a couple of leaves and sticks in the cage and make sure you spray it with a waterless sprayer at least once a day. So that's saying add moss and just make it a wet, damp place. They love damp and dark. You may miss the act of their breeding unless you take up nocturnal habits yourself. Unfortunately, there's not much more you can do other than creating a hospitable environment. I don't
really have a response anymore.
Why are we breeding snails?
How do we get on this topic?
Waiting it out, part 3 of 3. Be patient. You must now wait until the two snails have mated or impregnated themselves. When they have, it takes a week or two for them to lay. It can take 1 to 4 weeks for the eggs themselves to hatch depending on the species. Some snails lay them all at once and others spread them around. Yeah, so they just lay them in a pile or they just spread them around, just take their time with it. Watch the eggs hatch. This all depends on the species of your snail and the species you bred with it. It could be a very slow or very fast process. Wait and see. So, species of snails, it sounds like you could just mix and match with whatever you want.
There's just mutant snails running around.
Well, there would have to be. Right? That's kind of like in this regular animal kingdom, like there's so many different breeds of things just because different breeds bred with different breeds and probably has a different... Well, breed is probably the most basic term. But that's how we get so many variations of like, oh, that's I don't know, like a finch. You have a golden finch, it's a regular finch. So I could see that, but yeah, mutant snails are probably all just running around just... Oh my gosh. Alright, 1 to 4 weeks, they start hatching. And... Okay. Oh. Okay. Start to hatch 1 to 4 weeks onward in some species, but it is genes that possibly species... Oh, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Let me start over. My reading is terrible. I'm getting 30 and stupid. The eggs will start to hatch in 1 to 4 weeks onward in some species, but it is genes and possibly species dependent, with additional factors for how long they have been stored internally and the ambient and soil temperature. Eggs do not necessarily hatch uniformly, and this is more noticeable in species that have a long gestation period. So we just wait for them to hatch, and then we just...
I love how this person turned what could be a 2-line thing into this long
paragraph.
They just like to write. Like, dude, just become a writer. You can be like, make them get pregnant, make them hatch. It takes 1 to 4 weeks.
And the last thing is just the snails. Once they grow, you just got to kind of move them out. I mean, hop out. You got to move out some snails and separate them a little bit. Add calcium to help your snails grow strong shells too. They love to play.
Do they? It doesn't sound like it.
Pick them up and let them crawl on your hand, but be careful, you may crack their shell. Don't pick up small ones because their shell is very weak. With the adults, do not ever pick them up by their shell. So that thing I've done ever since I was a wee child.
I say that every human on the planet has
that
done.
we have always picked up snails like that.
Well, you've murdered snails, but it sounds like they're all kind of jerks.
Do another episode of me murdering something. First Thomas the Tank Engine, now it's snails.
I am truly uncomfortable with snails now. That is just horrifying.
And they just can't hear. I have no ears, but I must hear.
A world of silence.
A world of silence, and then just getting beat up because you just want...
I'm horny, smack. I'm horny, smack.
Getting shot.
I can't hear you
with darts. I wonder if they can smell. They didn't talk about they have mouths and they have eyes, but I don't know if they have a sense of smell. Like, could they smell like another snail around there?
I imagine they have to have some sensory things that they couldn't survive as a species if they can't.
Right. Right.
But what about Gary the snail from SpongeBob?
And then there's an episode where Gary the snail meets other snails. Oh no. And they do fight.
Gary's gonna have a good night tonight.
It doesn't matter who either. They just get in there and just start beating each other up, and someone leaves with a dart. That's horrifying. I did not know that about snails. I really didn't. And then we just stumbled onto the topic. What do you think that, smell... What does snail sex smell like?
Shame, regret.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of blood after you get stabbed.
Probably.
Sweat.
Oh my gosh.
It's in a box. I can't... It's so messed
and
up.
as a kid, I always looked at snails and thought, oh, they're so cute.
Why can't people be more like nature? Because nature's brutal.
Nature's brutal, and nature is scary sometimes.
I mean, humans have their flaws, but damn.
And everyone loves dolphins. Dolphins are even more vile than like a shark or anything like that. And we don't have time to get into it. Sharks are actually a lot more docile than people think.
Yeah, they just go crazy when they smell blood.
Right. And also, whenever they see someone swimming, they just mistake it. Like, it's been proven, they just mistake it for like another animal that they always go after. But just because you have sharks in water doesn't mean they're like just going to murder you immediately. Like, you see people swimming with sharks all the time, and they just kind of swim by. They take a look, see who you are, and then they swim away.
What are you doing to my... Oh, all right. I don't got to worry about you.
Yeah, I don't got to worry about you. Yeah, I know it's sharks also. They never stop swimming. They sleep with they shut off half their brain to sleep.
Oh, yeah, they can't stop moving.
Yeah, if they stop moving. Animals are wild.
Nature's crazy, dude.
Nature's crazy. Yeah. Nature's crazy. Yeah, so there it is.
That one went off the rails a little bit.
There's our, two guys in their 30s just talking about nonsense. Oh, I did pick up a 360 though.
Nice. Best system ever.
Best system ever.
Which I will be revisiting since my PS4 is broken. And I just remembered that again.
I brought that copy of Space Marines. You have something to fill your day with.
I'm going to play that.
Yeah. Found Space Marine. I found...
Too
Human. Gosh, that game is terrible to control.
I think I actually just liked the story. And that's why I forced myself to play it.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
Oh,
the controls had potential.
Because the controls, all right, so you use your stick and all you do is point toward an enemy, the right stick, and you don't even swing your weapon with that. Now I remember, you just point it at him and your character just jumps and attacks. And you
Yeah.
got to put armor on them just to increase. So it's like auto. Like if you don't upgrade your stuff, you're not going to be able to beat it, guys. But to turn the camera, since usually the right stick is for camera in any game, you have to hold down the LB button, but you have to hold it down for a little bit before you start moving, because if you do it too soon, you start pulling out your sword. And I'm like, oh, I remember now.
You're like, I can't believe I got this.
It was $5. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't remember what. It must have been the cinematics that like captured
The opening is super cool.
All of their videos in that thing are just epic.
Like the opening is just like it's all foggy and you just see like the the silhouette of a ship, and it's all these troops gonna go be dropped off somewhere. And
isn't there only like one city left or something, and that's what they're trying to
and
protect?
like the computer system's called Odin, and they're like, Odin sending commands, and you just walk out, and there's like space marines with like giant axes on their back and swords while having guns. I'm like, this is
isn't there like an actual Odin, or was that all just a computer program?
That's what I don't remember, and I just started the beginning of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just that beginning is just. Yeah, playing it if it were to be remade, it would be a lot more.
They'd probably like have to redo the system,
the combat, but I think it would have a good narrative to it. I mean, I was invested because there were just a lot of back and forth chatter between all the troopers, and you're running around with your sword, and then you start fighting
that you
stuff.
had people helping you. Mine always died.
Yeah, so,
without fail, they were all dead.
And you like jump around and swing your sword, and you just got this small troop that follows you around. And you pick your class. There's different classes. It was very ambitious, but it wasn't.
It was a little too ambitious for its time, and it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
I don't remember what the cliffhanger was, but like I think the main bad guy gets away.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a trilogy, and then it never happened because it tanked so hard.
Yeah. Give it another shot, guys.
Well, Silicon...
Also, give us the Second Republic Commando. Okay, I'm done.
I got those out real quick. I also was able to buy a copy off the store of Asura's Wrath and the DLC that finishes the story. So that's also going to be something I'm going to get into, because that is just... I was so excited when I saw it on the store, because I saw it on eBay.
Cry. I'm going to kill everything.
Everything. Like every deity in existence, just because you made his daughter cry. You don't mess with that guy. Asura's Wrath, you don't mess with him.
John Wick meets him at some point. Hey man, I heard what you're doing. I like your work.
I love your work. Big fan. And Asura's like, yeah, you get a new dog? Yeah, I did. I like this one a lot. And then like...
You realize they're coming out with a 4th John Wick movie?
Yeah. They're awesome action flicks.
I love them. I absolutely love them.
I half the time I don't know what's going on, but I'm just...
You don't need to.
It's cool. Just our boy, our good old
Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves.
Kicking butt and
being a dude. So we reached the end of the episode. Usually, if it was It Sure Is a Podcast, we'd go down the route of little kisses, but we're two dudes in their 30s, and we have to go... What?
I was gonna make a joke, but I was gonna say, as a new ending, we have to do what, white guys in their 30s do, and I was gonna say drop a racial slur.
Oh my gosh. You would be right. Just sitting there and there's a bunch of beeps at the end. That is what it'd be. All right, let's leave you off with this. Beep, beep, beep.
No, we're not racist. It was just a bad joke.
We're not like that.
I'm making fun of other white people.
I was just going to say, we got to go do adult stuff. We have to go do stuff the 30-year-olds do, like balance our checkbooks and, switch out the laundry.
Beg my wife to buy... Oh, crap. I really do have to do laundry. Damn it.
I have to do laundry today, too. Like, today is my laundry day.
Yeah.
It always waits till Sunday, and then the whole week I have all my sets of clothes ready to go. Yeah. So we have to close out today and go be 30-year-olds. So
beg my wife to buy me a new Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, 30-year-old things. All right, we'll see you in the next episode of